Okay, so on to our last transformation, it's rotations, and these are one of our trickier ones, so make sure you're paying attention, taking good notes, pause and go back if you need to. So a rotation, remember, is a turn of a figure around a fixed point, and it's kind of a stretch, but rotation has a T in it, and that's how I remember it's a turn. So you're just rotating an image, and we kind of all know what rotate means anyway, so that should remind you that you're just turning it. So just a visual example, these smiley faces down here, if you start with this smiley face that's upright, and you go ahead and you turn it 90 degrees clockwise, so take it 90 degrees to the right, you're going to end up with that kind of sideways smiley face. If you went all the way around, then you would end up with like the upside down smiley face. And then if you went 90 degrees counterclockwise, you would end up with that smiley face that's facing this way instead. So you can kind of see like where those, which direction and how far those shapes were rotated. So in order to actually do a rotation, first thing you want to do is graph the original image, and then we have three separate rules. So to rotate a point 90 degrees clockwise, that's like our first red smiley face here, you're going to switch the positions of your x and y coordinate, and then you're just going to change the y coordinate. So just like when we changed in reflection, we just changed it from positive to negative or from negative to positive, same idea. That's all we mean by change, just flip the sign. In part B, it says to rotate a point 90 degrees counterclockwise, which is actually the same as 270 degrees clockwise. You're going to switch the position of x and y, and then change the x coordinate to their opposite. And then in our last situation, we're going to be rotating a point 180 degrees. That changes just the x and y's to their opposite. So we're not flipping them there, we're just changing them to their opposites. Okay, so that sounds awesome, but to actually understand, I want you to look at this example. So we have a trapezoid A, B, C, D, E. Point A is at 1, 3. Point B is at 4, 4. Which is right up here. Point C is at 4, 0, and point D is at 1, 1. So our original shape is this trapezoid right here, and I want you to have that sketched first so we can kind of watch as these rotations go along. This is our original, and we had point A, B, C, and D. First step says go 90 degrees clockwise. So in our 90 degrees clockwise rule, we're going to switch x and y, and then we're going to change y. So we have two steps. So the first thing we want you to do is just switch all of the positions of these numbers. So since this was 1, 3, the first thing I want you to do is just change it to 3, 1. So we're just switching the position. 4, 4, not really much to switch there, it kind of looks the same. 4, 0 becomes 0, 4, and 1, 1, again switch them, but kind of just looks the same. Now that we've switched it, we're going to change our y. So to change the y, whatever it was, if it was positive, change it to a negative. Now if it was negative, change it to a positive. So we have 3, 1, that's just going to become 3, negative 1. We had 4, 4, that becomes 4, negative 4. 0, 4 becomes 0, negative 4. And 1, 1 becomes 1, negative 1. So those are all of our new points. You can go ahead and graph those. So we have 3, negative 1, 4, negative 4, 0, negative 4, and 1, negative 1. That was point A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. And that makes our new trapezoid, which looks like if you would have turned this one and gone 90 degrees clockwise, you would have gotten that shape. So that was our example A. Now let's move on to example B, and that's a counterclockwise rotation. So for this, we switch x and y, but we change our x. That's our little rule for that. So again, start by just switching. To switch them, we get 3, 1, 4, 4, 0, 4, and 1, 1. And this time we're going to change our x. So whatever the sign is, just change it to the opposite. So this becomes negative 3, 1, negative 4, 4. 0 doesn't have an opposite, so it just stays 0. And negative 1, 1. There's our new points. So we go ahead and graph those. Negative 3, 1, negative 4, 4, 0, 4, and negative 1, 1. That's A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, and D double prime. when you go ahead and connect your shape, you can kind of see if we had taken this original pink shape and gone 90 degrees counterclockwise, we would have gotten that upside down trapezoid. We kind of just took it and we turned it around the center. So now our last example, we have the 180 degree rotation. So that's taking it and it's rotating it 180 degrees. So that's half a circle. So all we had to do for this one is just change the sign on our x and y. So we're not flipping our the location of the numbers, we're just changing the sign. So you just change your x and y. So this was 1, 3, becomes -1, -3. 4, 4, -4, -4. 4, 0, -4, 0. And 1, 1, -1, -1. Last step is just to plot all these points. So -1, -3, -4, -4, -4, 0, and -1, -1. That was A triple prime, B triple prime, C triple prime, and D triple prime. And we can label that as shape C there. That was our example C. I forgot to label shape B. But you can kind of see in that shape C now, we went from our pink shape, our original, and we took it a half circle all the way around. We took it and we completely rotated it 180 degrees. So that's half a circle there. So that's our rotations. You just have to follow the rules and carefully plot each of those points in order to get those right. So go ahead and move on to page 9 and try that last example on your own. Make sure you're following each of those rules and being careful with that. Go ahead and pause the video and then press play when you're ready to check your work. Okay, so hopefully you pause to check to do your work on your own before you watch me do it. Our first shape is, our first point is -2, -1, -6, 1, and, -6, -1, and that's right here, -7, -3, and -3, -3. So those are our shapes right there. Those are our original shapes that we started with. And then we're going to do all of our rotations with it. So our first rotation is 90 degrees, and that is 90 degrees. We're going to assume it's clockwise. Since it doesn't tell us, you want to assume it is clockwise. If they don't tell you, just assume that. So our 90 degree clockwise rule is that we have to switch the position of our numbers first. So we switch our position here, and then we change the y value. And so this becomes -1, 2. This one here, we switch the position first, and then change your y value. And C, switch the position, and then change your y value. Same thing in our last point, and then change your y value. So there's all your new points, and then you go ahead and graph each of those. So there's our new shape. We just took that pink shape and we rotated it 90 degrees clockwise. I'm going to go ahead and put the work up for the next two as well as their drawings. So here's the work for our 180 degree rotation. Remember, all we have to do for that is just change the signs. We don't flip the order at all, just changing the signs on X and Y. And it looks like we took that shape and we rotated it halfway around a circle along that, around the origin, right around that center point. So this last one here might have tripped you up a little bit, but remember a 270 degree rotation, and we're assuming that's clockwise, is the same as just going 90 degrees counterclockwise. And our rule for that was to switch the position of each of the points and then change our x. Okay, and then here's the last part of our 270 degree rotation. Remember that's just 90 degrees counterclockwise. We switch the position, change your new x, and here's our new shape. It went either 270 clockwise or it just went 90 counterclockwise. So those are both just that same thing right there. Now that you've gotten through this example, go ahead and stop the video. You should be done your notes packet at this point, and I want you to take the rotations formative. Thanks for watching.